Good morning, everyone. Meet a remarkable student whose journey from Pomona College is as accomplished as it is inspiring. Majoring in economics and mathematics, she possesses a deep seated fascination with the financial world, keen on unraveling the complexities of financial markets and instruments.
Her passion for learning goes beyond the classroom. She has participated in TEDx events, podcasts, MUNs, and is passionate about the world of music, among other extracurricular activities. Her commitment, perseverance, and insatiable curiosity to learn and improve the world around her are evident in everything she does. Let's welcome Thira Kothari from the batch of 2022.
Okay. So, what were a few high school experiences that were pivotal in shaping your interests in the field of economics? And how did you realize that you wanted to pursue a career in economics with mathematics?
So I think it was during the ninth grade, like when we were like in the transition from the eighth to the ninth grade, when we were picking our subjects for the IGCSE board, is when I realized that I would enjoy learning about economics. I talked to a few teachers at school, and they all helped me like realize what my interests were, and I knew it would be something in the finance field or more of it like in the STEM field. So I was thinking that I would enjoy economics, and then I took my first economics class in the ninth grade, and I realized that this is something that I've been looking for all my life. I've always loved math, but I never like loved it to an extent where I wanted to apply it practically. But then I figured out that in econ you can like apply math theoretically and use theory and use logic, which are all the things I enjoy. So I think that was the biggest force that pushed me into this field. The other thing was that I did a bunch of like summer schools, and I met so many people doing like an econ man double major in college. Met so many people working in the finance industry doing economics consulting. So when I talked to them about their experiences and they explained what they were doing, I really enjoyed listening to it and understanding how they crunched numbers and how they were practically affecting the world, writing reports about it, helping smaller businesses, all of those things. Like they all just led me to um, economics. And yeah, I'm glad I chose the right path because I am thoroughly enjoying it at college.
All right,
Okay.
yeah, sounds interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think because Shreya also wants to pursue something very similar to that. Even I do
Yeah,
for that matter, but I'm a little bit indecisive.
right.
uh, I actually do want to pursue finance, and like exactly, like I'm planning on doing a major in econ. So,
Oh, wonderful. I feel like yeah, like even leaning towards it a little bit and then going deeper and just figuring out what you want, like through that subject, because there's so many different paths you can take after doing econ. I feel yeah,
yeah.
you'll make it. Don't worry.
Other thing, like since you're oriented towards finance, why did you not choose to have like some? Not all colleges in the US do offer finance at an undergrad level. So why did you choose to go to a college which offered finance at an undergrad level?
But the thing is that I want to pursue finance, but at the same time, like there are so many other career paths that interest me. Like it's not just finance, but it's also academia and research that I would love to engage in, because again, like in high school, I published a research paper. So
Yeah.
doing those things made me question if getting into finance was the only option for me. While it's there, and while like doing internships over the summer in college helps me understand the world of finance better, at the same time researching with profs on campus or talking to just people from the consulting industry, seniors from my college who graduated, asking them about their work life balances in consulting. All those things I feel like push me in different directions. So even though I'm a sophomore and I'm almost going to be in my junior year next year, I feel like there's still some delving deep into like what career path I want to go into to be done. Like there's still some research to be done as to what I want to do. And I feel like choosing finance as a degree would like already pivot me in a direction to be like to like incline myself into just doing finance, which is something I'm not really sure about yet. And I guess just figuring out my options through like taking different courses at college, taking different electives in my coursework. I feel those things help me better than just like completely committing to finance as a major.
Yes.
Yeah.
You should
So
always
like
keep your options
eliminating.
open.
Yeah, like I love the fluidity at this college. Like I can play guitar at 5 p.m. in the afternoon, but then at 6 p.m. I can go to like a computer science lab. Like it's
Yeah.
things like that that make it fruitful and more holistic for me.
Yeah. So, being a scholar both at JPIS and at Pomona, it must have been incredibly daunting, but it's also an incredible feat to achieve. So, how do you make sure you stay on top of your academic success along with various other activities like clubs, internships, or even summer school, as you mentioned?
I feel like striking that balance takes a little bit. Like for everyone, the process is different. But I feel when I started out, I was a little rusty myself because when I started focusing a little bit more on my academics, I completely let go of like summer activities to do or plan for my summer or like even join clubs. But I feel like the more you get familiar with your spaces, the more I can gain responsibilities. So like freshman fall when I was here first, like I was not that involved on campus, and then slowly as I started to like find my roots here, I started to like take on more responsibilities. But I feel like the one thing that really helped me was creating a timetable, like just going to my Google Calendar and like seeing what small pockets of time I have available and trying to do more new things in those lots of time. So I feel like if like for next week if I want to plan, I would sit during the weekend and just put everything on my Google Calendar and try to like look at slots where I can like add a new club, or if I can sit down and research about what internships are around, or if I can network on LinkedIn and maybe like send a few people messages on LinkedIn and talk to them and figure out my career goals. So things like that. And while doing that, like it's necessary to also relax. So like for me, like if Saturday is always like a rest day, like I'm always like either reading a book, going out with my friends, going to the beach, things like that. I feel like relaxing is key to kind of making that schedule for you. Because I feel when you relax, you also get the motivation of like working harder tomorrow and better tomorrow. So I feel like that kind of thought process always worked best for me.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's striking the balance between relaxing and studying. It's quite hard to find sometimes.
It is because you can really be drifted away while relaxing. Like you never know when to cross, when you're crossing that line. So I feel like it comes with time, but the more work you have, the more you realize that you need to create a timetable and you need to figure this out, or you'll be in the trenches. So yeah,
And until you're not in the trenches, you don't realize that.
no, you don't. It takes a few downfalls.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm sure that there's a lot of workload to manage in the last few years of high school and at college. So do you have any tips for like our GPIs to ensure that we stay on top of our studies whilst managing our extracurriculars? Because I believe, and I think most of our my team batchmates would, that one of the main problems that we face is time management.
Yeah, no, I feel like high school I did so much more than I do in college. Like in college I have like two classes a day and I'm like exhausted after that. But I think when I look back, I feel like when like during the time when I was applying to colleges, I was really driven towards just applications, and like studies were kind of on the back burner, which is fine, I think, for a little bit. Like when you're in the middle of this process, you need to give your heart and soul to where you're applying and what you should do and what extracurriculars you should add on to really like enhance your application. And I feel like when you guys are in the middle of this process, you should definitely give like 80% of your time to understanding what your future prospects at college look like. And then I'm like the school structure, I feel has a lot to do with this. Like you'll get a signal from the school when you're supposed to like stop focusing so much on applications and get back on the academics track. So I feel like the one thing that really helped me was like the structure already set down by our administration. And the fact that, until like May or like summer or like maybe like October, like you figure out everything that's to be done with your college applications, and it might like bleed over into December. But post December, I remember I just studied from January, February onwards. Like it was just like boards time, and we all went crazy, and we all just studied a lot, created. And I feel like creating groups with friends and putting down times for them to study really helped me. I feel like collaboratively studying really pushed me to like be more motivated, I feel,
Yeah.
in the middle of this process, because when you fall down, or like when you're off your track and when you like get so like driven towards your applications, you already are going through so much anxiety thinking of which college you'll get into. I feel like taking your friends out to a cafe and studying really helped me personally, like get my mind off things and think about what boards would look like, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
that
people
waiting
going
period
through the
must have
same.
been terrible. when
I'm
getting
sorry.
the waiting period of like getting acceptances must be terrible.
Yeah, and it was all the more worse because like decisions come out like, US time zones, and you have to wake up at 5 in the morning and you don't even sleep well because you're worrying what the morning would look like. And you wake up and you open your decision at 5 a.m. and you've like woken up the entire house because you didn't get into your early decision. So it's just like, things like that keep happening. So it's crazy.
It's
Yeah.
like a whole
But
different experience.
yeah.
Okay, so on the note of getting college acceptances or not getting in, you successfully got into one of the most renowned liberal arts colleges in US, and that too with a scholarship. So, could you share your approach to preparing for the application process? What tips or advice would you offer to aspiring students who are going to be applying this year?
I think the number one advice is to talk to your counselors. I feel like when I first decided on like applying to Pomona, I sat down with my counselors and I told them why I wanted to like be a part of this institution. Because I feel like a lot of times we get drifted away by names of colleges and we don't really like research into what they are special for and what are aspects of the college life that really attract us. So I feel going like especially your top choices, I feel like you should sit down and give at least a few hours to just noting down a few aspects of the college that really attract you, like whether it's the student body, its class size, clubs at college, parties at college, accessibility to like things around college, stuff like that. I feel like it's important to really give it a thought before applying to something. So when I first decided to apply to Pomona, like I said, I tried to explain to my counselors and justify why it is a good choice for me. And I feel like I just got positive responses. Like they went back and forth trying to question if this particular aspect of the college would suit me or that would. And I feel like that sort of like bouncing off of each other and back and forth really helped me like, nail the fact down that, oh, I really want to go to Pomona. It would be a good fit for me. The second thing I did was, I think for my college essays, like I I really tried to like weave in the parts of college that were really attractive to me. For example, like Pomona is really popular for small class sizes. So when those things happen, I try to inculcate that into my application, and I try to like explain why small class sizes would be a better option for me, would make me thrive better. For example, like Pomona has a consulting club, so I already try to like express my interest in consulting on my application to like show that yes, there are a lot of aspects of this college that suit to me, and not because I'm trying to get in, but this is genuinely what I want to do in the future. Um, Third thing, going out, reaching out to people on LinkedIn, people who are already a part of this college, school alumni who are at Pomona, stuff like that. Just reach out and ask them how their college life has been, and just like build connections, build networks, try to understand what works out for them, what doesn't work out for them. Communication, just like all of that really helped me like nail the fact down that I want to go to Pomona. And I think the fourth thing would be talking to my friends. Like when I was applying there, I kept speaking to them about this maybe this I'm scared that I wouldn't get the scholarship. Like for example, when I was applying to it, I was just telling them that maybe this reduces my chance of going to college, but it's a gamble, it's a risk, and they help me calm down. Like at the end of the day, it's not the result, it's the journey that matters. And just like speaking to them about what my anxieties look like and them calming me down and them giving me the idea of the bigger picture now and then really helps. So I feel like remembering those 4 5 things during my college application process like really kept me sane.
Yeah, like it can be really too and comparative. Yeah, this the period is I'm not
Exactly.
I'm awaiting that, but somehow I'm not awaiting that as well.
I know. And like especially when all your friends are applying to similar schools and there's literally the same pool of applicants everywhere, you just
And
yeah,
you
you want to
know that
follow your
only two, three
friends
people
in
will
that
get
boat.
in.
I'm sorry.
You know that
Yeah.
only two, three people will get in. So like it's
Exactly.
even more
Yeah,
difficult.
it can get really toxic really quick, but like always keeping in contact, reaching out, helping each other out, like those are attributes that really, are important to follow during this process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, continuing on the same topic. So, like, the application process is quite stressful. So, Was there any incident that you felt like giving up, or you felt like you couldn't do it, and like how did you manage to overcome it and keep a positive mindset?
So I think this was during like the time early decisions were coming out. Like I said, I didn't get into my ED1, and that was like really heartbreaking because I mean I've been idealizing this school for like my entire life, and just to not get in is such a shocker. And it feels so deep in the moment. It feels like your entire world has been snatched away from you. I don't know if I'm being dramatic, but that's exactly how I felt in the moment. Um, but regardless, like recovering from that, just like um, going through the different stages of denial, grief, emotion, I feel like over time I realized that it's fine. And if it were not for that rejection, I would not be at Pomona, and I wouldn't be surrounded by the people I know today. And I feel like just remembering that wherever you'll end up where destiny has put you. And it's something that's it's like people keep talking about like this theory that um you go through like a set of experiences in life to get to the same place that you've always like dreamt about or thought about. And I feel like all these downfalls, the uphills, the all the emotions, everything that you go through in life is just a big lesson. And I feel we should always take good things from that lesson, and it should never be enough to like throw you off your game. Or yes, you can take time off and you can understand what you're going through emotionally, but at the same time it's so important to bounce back, because that's what makes us like the people we are. Like the faster we bounce back, the faster we, realize that there's so much out there, and if one door shuts, 10 more will open. Like things like that, I feel are really true, because these, especially your college application process, it teaches you so much. And it teaches you that even though you might not get into the best school, there's still so many people out there, so many opportunities out there that you can grab onto to learn something new. Like the learning should never stop. And downfalls will occur. Like even when you're in college, you wouldn't get an A plus on every class you take. You will get B's. You probably will fail. You probably, will not do the best. But at the same time, that doesn't mean you should stop learning. And that there's so much out there to like learn from, and so many people to talk to. And failure is just part of the process. It's never a statement on how you are, and never a reflection on what you can achieve. It just propels you to do more and learn better and be better, I guess.
Yes, I think that was like a really, really true words of wisdom coming from you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this would be something that like a lot of people would feel like after not being accepted, like after, especially after ED. Like, how did you bounce back in 15 days? Like, that's a really short period because
Yeah, I feel like in that moment you don't really have time to process anything. Like it's just very like you're on the go. You have to keep applying. So I feel like managing your expectations is something that everyone should practice. Like yes, being hopeful is so important and so necessary, but at the same time, like we all know that if we don't get into into like the school of our top choice, it's okay. Like we should always have that feeling that there are so many options out there, and if I don't get into my top one, maybe I get into my top five. But that doesn't take away from the fact that I'm still doing something I love, and I still have the privilege to learn and go abroad, or like meet new people, study at new places, form new friendships. Like those are still privileges that we will have regardless of the college we go to. And I feel those are like great experiences to learn from, than to like put a label and just say that, oh, you've been to an Ivy League. Like that's cool, but at the same time, like you should you should also trust the fact that you have the ability to go abroad, and you have the ability to share what you've learned with others. And I feel that's a greater experience altogether than just going to a school that's popularly known.
so basically after ED, like the world doesn't end. Like
The world does not end. Like we were all still alive. We all still had to apply. The apocalypse didn't occur. It was all good, and yeah, we just went on. And yes, having that realization in the moment is really hard. But over time, you realize that it's fine. Like those 15 days, it's a blur. I don't even remember like most of it. It's just
you don't have time to process the information. Just
yeah,
like
exactly. You just have to go, and I feel like yeah, in that moment, like it's nothing but just keep going, and just remember the phrase "keep going." Like it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to a bit of lighter topics. You started a podcast as a part of your extracurricular activities. So, how far do you think that experience of interviewing others impacted your social life and prepared you for the experience at college?
I feel like the podcast initially, we were talking to a lot of school students and people younger than us, people older than us. And I feel just, I was in a very similar position. Like the one question I asked them before every podcast started is, how did you manage to go through your college application process? How did you manage to be sane? Because I feel like I'm losing all my bearings. And they told me the same thing. They told me that you should calm down and yes, college is going to take you through a very exciting journey and it's going to lead you to what you really want to be. And yeah, so I think that those pieces of advice really helped me through these podcasts. And people younger than me were just like, "Oh my god, you don't need to stress out. You're doing so well." And oh, we were excited to go through this process. And just seeing that excitement in their eyes made me realize that yes, I was once an eighth grader. Just wondering when I would be a part of this process, and now I am. And now let me just enjoy it. Instead of really fearing it, let me just be with the process.
That's true.
Yeah, I guess when talking to like people who are working in different industries, fashion, communication, consulting, business, finance, I think all those things really helped me strike that work-life balance we've been talking about. When we always just have a question or two about how they manage like their social life, their career, how do they manage to like look forward to something after having a long 9 to 5 day. And they always told me that exercise and eating well were the two things that kept them going, which is something that has stuck. And I feel like they said that even if it's just 30 minutes of movement, it really clears your brain and gives you time to schedule things better, gives you time to like think of how you should plan your day better. And the second thing was that if you eat well and if you stay healthy, like they always said that you always have a positive mindset and you always are looking for ways to make your day more fruitful instead of just lazing around and being latent. While that's not bad, we all need our time to like laze around and we can't be on the go 24/7. I feel like, creating a routine of exercising and eating healthy really helps you plan your day better. And also reading 10 pages a day. Like, I know that sounds like crap, but trust me, it helps. It really, really helps. Like, I know we've been hearing this ever since we like were 10, but reading 10 pages a day really does miracles for you. Because, and books that you want, like, it doesn't have to be, some philosophical stuff that has been like, that questions the, purpose of life. It can literally be fiction as well. But just like giving time to relax and just read something that's not academic coursework really helps too, I feel.
No, I get that. I'm a big bibliophile. Like I can't go without a book a day.
Wow, that's amazing. Like those are amazing habits to like inculcate like right from high school. Like reading really helps you relax, helps you think better, helps you communicate better. It has so many benefits. And yeah, it's just I feel like those are the three things that I learned about work-life balance and managing my social life and other aspects from them through these podcasts.
Yeah, but I don't think a lot of people get that today because a couple of days back I was dating and my friend was sure that I read to relax and he was like, what?
Yeah, that sounds strange nowadays. Like you don't want to go to the beach, you don't want to go out to shop, you want to
curl
read
up and read
fresh
a book.
He wasn't sure that I'm reading to relax.
Yeah, no, I feel like everyone has different outlooks, but like not just if reading doesn't work, listen to a podcast. Like like listen to something that's informational and not just like Netflix, you know?
I think that's very important for
Yeah.
our grade and the coming grades.
Yeah,
At least
no,
something.
It's something they
They
should
want,
really listen to.
yeah, they want to read, so listen to a podcast, definitely.
yeah. Watching Netflix is important, I get it, like more than anything, but yeah. Like you should also make time to read now and then.
Yeah.
I feel, yeah.
On a person, like personally, would you prefer fiction or do you self-help?
Uh I used to be a big fiction person in middle school and high school, but I feel like I don't like the thing with me is that if I start reading fiction, I need to finish it, and if I don't finish it, like it'll just keep roaming around, it'll like roaming in my head about what's going to happen next, and I feel like that messes with my academic life. So that's another issue altogether. That's why I try to read more self-help books. Right now, I am reading. I can show you guys Atomic Habits by James
Oh,
Clear.
same. I'm reading the same book right now.
Yeah. No, this is helping me right now. It's helping me to like finish off the bigger tasks first and then like basically learn the art of multitasking, essentially, through this
And
book.
it's really good. It's like 1% each time. Like the mathematics like really shows you that it's true. It's like
Yeah,
amazing.
like it's all, and the best part, it's all logically proven, which works best
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah. Okay. I'm moving on from the books topic because I will not stop. Uh, so you were in the COVID-19 batch, and your 10 boards were cancelled. 10th grade boards were cancelled. So how do you feel it impacted your school life, and more specifically the experiences you wrote about in your college application process?
Hmm. I think we were all a little taken aback because, like, post 10th, like 11th grade is the time you really go out and figure out your extracurriculars for college. So we were all just wondering as to how we would get those things done. But I feel like all of us, we birthed like so many nice and creative ideas through this process. Like, I think the one thing that I really like applaud my batch for is being creative nonetheless, and being persistent and consistent, even if we were online. Like, it was a very big change for all of us. And regardless, like, everyone came up with such beautiful initiatives that attached so many different things that people could do from like literally a laptop at their houses. Like, for example, like the entire, like the student body, I remember at that time we came up with like this initiative to give more oxygen cylinders around,
Yeah.
and all with like calls and messages and emails, and that was like beautifully put together. And if I look back into my personal life, like my me and my friend, we started like an e-commerce platform literally from the comfort of our own homes, and like creating a website, talking to sellers, talking to like people around, like those things can still happen, and they can happen like at a higher frequency than usual because everybody was at home, and you just had like more time. Everyone had more time to like give to these things. So I feel like coming up, continuing my podcast, because again, you can do it from anywhere, any corner of this world. uh, Coming up with an e-commerce platform, engaging in theoretical research, taking more courses online, um, learning new things like playing chess with your family, or like things like that. Also, like they're always adding to my learning portfolio. And yeah, I guess, I remember there was a time when we used to all sit together online and do like jam sessions on Google Meet or Zoom, like to like stress down, like and things like that. So I feel like regardless of whether we were online or not, I feel we learned a lot. I remember I started learning, taking guitar classes online when I was, at home during COVID. I mean, I never thought I'd be able to learn chords and music and stuff like that from literally like over Zoom, but it happens, and anything is possible. So I feel like if that period taught us anything, it's that you can literally sit in any corner of the world and do anything you want in more. So I feel like more than it being a hurdle in our way, it was something that motivated us to like explore more and understand more and learn more than we would have done if we were in person, I guess.
Yeah, like being creative was. You have to be
Yeah,
creative. The life can't stop. Right?
exactly. And like I feel like everyone got creative because how much can you sit at home and look at a TV or like sleep, Like, yes, it was great the first few weeks, do not get me wrong. But after that we were all a little bored. Like, what to do, can't see your friends, you know? So it was, we came
After
up
one,
with,
after 1 month, it was very boring.
yeah, like what do you do?
You need to find a way to stimulate yourself or something.
Exactly, yeah,
And
But
it
that
helped in the college apps, so
yeah.
plus
in
plus.
eighth grade didn't matter for us though. We were just flying around.
No, I'm
Yeah.
sure it was great. Yeah.
Okay, as everybody would know, that IB is so stressful, and handling both academics and extracurriculars is also a huge task. But with all these things on your plate, how did you find time to focus on the SAT? Furthermore, since the SAT is optional right now in a lot of colleges, how important do you think it is for the college application process? Do you think it played a major role in your application or in getting your acceptance?
I feel because like we were the COVID batch, and literally every college became test optional then. So for us, it did not matter that much. But I would beg to think that it matters for a lot of other colleges today and maybe before our time. We were all, when we were going through the process, like we were not expecting for a pandemic to occur, so we were studying really hard for our SATs and ACTs. So regardless, I feel like it plays a pivotal role in your application process. And especially if you're going to like med school or planning to go to grad school after that, I feel they always look at standardized test scores. So if if your future is in academia or in going out there and getting an MBA, I feel like they always do look at SATs and ACTs. And I feel it's also a great skill to learn through the SAT process, because you're again reading quite a bit. You learn speed reading. Your grammar gets polished a little bit here and there, and yeah, like that section takes me out. And then you have the math section, which is again, quick math is something that you should, like, if you're planning to go into econ, for example, if Shreya, you're planning to go into econ, then quick math is always a great technique to have. So I feel like weirdly, even if it's important or not, I feel like it's still something that adds on to your skill set. So if you guys are planning to give it, if you have you guys already given it?
Yeah, I have.
I'll
Okay,
give it in the May right now.
okay, right. So if you guys are planning to like give another attempt or whatever, I feel like it's always worth another try. And I feel like yes, like SAT scores do matter, but it's not everything about your application. Like it's fine. It's still like something some colleges wouldn't even care about and some would. So I feel like it's also a very college specific thing. But at the same time, it's for every college. Like this is a blanket statement. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like when it comes to like other aspects, like that should always be a balance. Like if your SAT score is just 1400, then maybe your academics your academics out of the portfolio should be like more enhanced, or maybe your extracurricular should be a little more enhanced, but there should be like sort of a balance to show that yes, I'm good at something but not everything.
Okay, moving on from SAB. So, you received a scholarship, and that too at a very prestigious college, and congratulations for that. A little bit too late, I know.
I know, it's okay.
Yeah. So, what makes you think that you got the scholarship? Like, what made you stand apart from other applicants who did get in?
Honestly, I do not know. Like, I feel like everyone here is such an academic weapon. Like, I like every person I look at has so much to offer that I don't know what sets us apart. But I do feel like there's something very inherently similar to all of the applicants here, like everyone who got in. I feel like we all are some of like we all very driven towards what we want to do, and our interests are kind of really similar. Like you can find someone who like is going through similar dilemma as me. Like I know like six different people today who want to also go into research, also want to go into consulting, and also want to go into finance. Like it's crazy how we all our interests converge into like converge together. So I feel I don't know what set me apart from other applicants, and I still today, like to this day, think it was kind of a gamble, and I just got a little lucky because there is a lot of luck involved in this process. Like you never know when you may be better than this applicant or not, because it's such a wide pool. I don't think I'm qualified enough to make a statement where I can say that okay, this was exactly what helped me get my scholarship. But yes, I did all the quintessentials that you're supposed to do for an app for your college application process, adding extracurriculars, doing academics, SAT, ACT, getting good letter of recommendations, everything. I remember being really, really cautious while filling out the entire application and giving it my heart and soul. So I feel like being dedicated really helped, and I think I think that's the only thing that was in my hands. The rest I do not know, so I can't really tell you what made me get my scholarship. But I would say like stay dedicated, and if you want to apply for a scholarship somewhere, go for it. Like, don't be like, of course, be strategic about it. Like, don't apply for a scholarship at Harvard. Like, I don't know, that's still a bit of a gamble. But also, like, be strategic. But at the same time, if it's a college you really want to apply to and want also a scholarship, I feel like you should go for it. And the other thing that really helped me was I knew that Pomona has a huge endowment, so that was like the strategy part that I was talking about earlier. That if they have a big endowment, then they're more likely to give you a scholarship than like other colleges. So yeah, just do the due diligence, stay dedicated, and yeah, I think that's all.
Okay. Yeah.
So you're also a board member and chief financial officer of the South Asian Student Association at the Claremont colleges. You must have worked really hard to reach to that position. So could you elaborate on all that you did to land that position? Also, could you tell us a bit about clubs or societies in college? Considering while considering that they're quite important part of college life at USA.
This also tells you that we stalked you. So yeah.
It's okay. I'm enjoying it.
I think the way to say it is we did our research and we came.
Yeah, exactly. You guys did your due diligence and it's impressive. That's exactly how you should set up for a call always. This is great. Um, okay. So for the South Asian Student Association, I remember going to like this chai and chill event because, like I said, the Claremont colleges had like very little international representation. Like there were only 5 students from India who got in to Pomona, like in my grade. So it was a really, really a small pool of Indian people. So essentially, like when I came here, it was a very big culture shock, and I was looking for something that was a piece of home. So of course, like when this chai and chill event happened, I went and I met everyone on this board, and it felt so heartwarming. It felt like, I was back with a certain group of people that I've always grown up with and I've learned from and I've always been around. So I guess that feeling of home just, I think that was one of the biggest reasons of me applying for board. And I got in as a volunteer on board. And then I think it was just like taking on more events. I remember doing this one event during college. We organized Diwali, and when we did that, like I was handling all the finances of like getting the food, tracking down an Indian restaurant, getting like firecrackers and stuff like that, just arranging everything. So I feel like I really went deep into the process and handled the budget at that time. So I feel like because I was doing it well, I feel like my team members thought I would be like a good fit for this position, and then that's how like I prepared myself up to chief financial officer. But regardless, we all have like such important roles in the club, and like even though I'm chief financial officer, that's we all keep exchanging the positions we hold, and like sometimes I'm also like taking care of communication, taking care of transportation, and it's not just finance. But I feel like the bigger thing to take away from this club is just the fact that we make homes for other people and we make people feel like they're a part of an organization, a community, in a place that can get really isolating in a few days or a few weeks, especially when you get here as a new student. So I guess, yeah, that was the big thing about the South Asian Students Association. The other thing about clubs at Pomona is that there's so many. Like when you go to college, you'll find literally everything under the stars. We have a surfing club, we have a hiking club, we have a cooking club, things like that. So you can literally join anything that interests you, that attracts you. And I feel like the bigger, like it's not so much like it's not so formal, like the things you have to do. Yes, you have to be involved, but at the end of the day, it's not the type of commitment and motivation you put into a club in school. It's more of like more casual, and whenever you have a like free pocket of time, you go for a club event. But another thing is, if you want to be a part of the club's board or the club's admin, then you have to like be more present during events, and you have to like give in like 20% more than the general crowd who's just attending events, and you're on board. And it's not the type of commitment that you would give to like student council at high school, or like music club or whatever clubs we have at high school. But it's yeah, it's something that just helps you take away from the general routine of your life, I guess.
Okay. Coming to the lastly, the last question. Don't worry, we won't bore you anymore. So you wanted to pursue economics as a major along with maths, and so what do you think were the most important activities in your extracurriculars list? What do you think helped you the most in your college applications, and what advice would you like to give to your juniors who would pursue economics regarding extracurriculars like me? Yeah.
Okay, so for economics, I feel like the e-commerce platform that I talked about initially really helped, because it required a lot of like, because we wanted to create like a zero cost startup. Like we didn't want to have any initial costs because we were not in a position to pay for something with our own pockets at that particular time. So that's why we decided to like build the learn the skills online and like hire someone to build the website for us, again another student. And they did it voluntarily, so thank you to them. But regardless, I feel like that taught me a lot, because I I was talking to a lot of people, and I had to like come up with reasons and justifications as to why they should join our platform. And I think that really helped my business skills and both my econ skills, because I had to explain uh, ways where like joining our startup without us paying them a premium would be somehow beneficial to them. So coming up with those ideas and weaving those stories together to kind of like put put forth your idea and help people convince you that this works for them as well really help like my communication skills, which are very important when it comes to a major like econ or business. I think the other thing that helped me was research. I feel like delving deep into the topics I liked and investigating them and crunching numbers and especially learning Excel skills through those research topics. I feel was really important and a very necessary skill to have if you want to go into econ. Like you should know Excel, you should know Stata, you should know like some sort of data analysis platform. So I feel like those things helped. I would say just like. I think that was in economics and politics society, even in high school. I remember going to like quite a few meetings, and there were always guest speakers talking about their experiences, talking about what field of econ interests them. I remember there was this talk from someone working at the Reserve Bank of India and listening to what government could look like, especially in like the econ department. Sounded very interesting. Again, helped me like know more and learn more and just gain more information before I make a decision of how I would like to pursue this major. Was some takeaways. Um, as for the advice bit, I would just say, yeah, keep talking to people. I feel like I've said that all throughout this interview, but I've said it so many times because it's so important. If it were not for all the conversations I had with people from that particular industry, and it does not matter. Like even if you sound like a layman, even if you sound like someone who is new in the industry, you sound like that because you are like that. You are learning. You are a novice, and you should never be scared to ask any questions, especially to people from that industry. Like you might sound dumb, but always get your doubts clarified. Like you'd rather be a dumb person than a person with a lack of information. I always believe that, and I feel like always going out there and getting my questions answered, talking to them about what my interests are. And even though I have a very like rough contour of what my interests look like, I feel like it was talking to these people that helped me refine what it is exactly about econ and what is it exactly about like financial econ that interests me, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, Ani.
Officially, that's over for like the interview. But as a fun, round, we will move on to our rapid fire round where we'll just ask you would you rather questions, and you have to choose the one that comes the first to your mind. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Sounds
So,
perfect. Yeah.
first one, would you rather live at home or at the hostel?
At home. Okay. A solo trip or a trip with friends?
A trip with friends.
Okay.
Give your 10th boards again or be directly promoted to 11th grade?
Be directly promoted to 11th grade.
I expected that response.
I mean, exactly. I would. Okay. Early morning classes with your favorite professors or late evening study sessions with your friend group? Early morning classes with my favorite prof.
Really? I was expecting a different answer.
Yeah, but oh my god, like once you find the professors you really like at college, you like need to latch onto them because they don't have that sort of time to like for example teachers at high school, like they're so dedicated towards us, like you only realize their importance when you leave high school and you think that these people were always there for me, around me, just pushing me to do better. But here it's kind of like you need to run behind your prof to like actually ask them for even 2 minutes of their precious day. So it's yeah.
Okay, so MUN or TEDx?
MUN.
Okay. This is gonna be an interesting answer. Books or Netflix?
Books.
Phone or laptop?
Laptop.
Ivy League without scholarship or Pomona with scholarship?
Pomona with scholarship. Any day. Ivies don't even compare. I'm just kidding. No hate.
Extracurriculars or common app essay?
Extracurriculars.
Because they're more
Well, yeah.
fun or like.
They're fun to do. I mean, I overthink when I write. So like every word I write, I wonder if it's in the right place or not, or if I should use it or not. So it's a very like stressful process for me to write an essay. I would rather like prefer the alternative to it.
So basically a very insane process it is. Okay, India or the US?
India.
See, there's
Oh, sure.
nothing like home.
Yeah, home is home. Like nothing can replace God. Like that's for sure.
Yeah. All I was asking was like, what's the difference? Like, what do you think is the difference between liberal arts college and like a
So
normal
yeah.
university in the US?
I feel like normal unis in the US, um, I do not like a lecture setting. Like for example, like I don't want to be with like 150 people in a lecture hall, dozing off in the back seat when I've had like a busy Thursday night and I come back Friday morning class. Like I don't prefer that. So and I feel like for me like discussions work better. And Pomona is structured in a way where every class is a discussion, so you don't have more than like 15 people in a room at a time. And I feel like smaller student bodies, smaller class sizes work better in general for me because I like that one-on-one attention I get with my prof. Like I want to be able to like ask three questions and not only one because there's like paucity of time or more students around. So I feel like when it comes to a learning setting, I feel liberal arts colleges are known for a smaller student body, known for like more one-on-one interactions, known for more fluidity, and also just like yeah, it's also like very music and activity heavy. So if you're like interested in dance or music or some sort of like performance art, I feel it's also known for that. So a lot of people come here to pursue that with like a STEM major or things like that.
Uh, okay, last question, I swear. Yeah. So, one of the things that I'm actually like having a long time figuring it out is how to like decide on what colleges to apply to. For example, now like the applications are coming soon, and I used to apply. I'm pretty sure gonna want to hear the options I have. The thing is, there's so many options out there. I don't know which to choose. How did you narrow it down?
Yeah, I feel this is like the part that I was trying to get to like in the interview, but I think I'll make it more clear. I was saying that I feel you should sit down with every option, even if it's like 30 options, which is so valid. Like sit with every option and understand, like make a list of things that work for you. For example, like location, profs, class size, let's say things like that, like accessibility, transportation, things like that, and you just put like a rating for each of the college and each of the colleges. And like if you feel like some colleges are faring better than the other, then you choose those colleges to be on your actual list, and the others can you can discard. Because I feel like right now, yes, we know the Ivy Leagues and we know like how well they do, but we still haven't sat down with each of the Ivy Leagues and figured out if it's actually a place we want to go to. Yes, for me, like U Chicago was my ED1, right? So I thought U Chicago was the place for me. So I sat down with U Chicago and I understood if it would work for me, and like will the accelerated nature of U Chicago be a perfect fit for me or not. So I feel like getting to the bottom of those things is really important. And if you could talk to like people who've gone to U Chicago and ask them questions about econ and what their pros look like, what the workload is like, because you want to have a work-life balance. You don't want to be burnt out by the time you're in your junior year. Like you
Yeah.
want to have the motivation to look for jobs and not just be stressed out about academics the entire time. So things like that I feel are important to like figure out before you choose your colleges. And I feel like you should always divide your colleges, which I think they'll get to when they explain the entire process to you. But you should always divide your colleges into dream, and then the colleges that you're going to get into, and your safeties.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think that's one of the things that really had trouble figuring out. So that really helped me.
So
Okay.
it was great having you here with us, and
Of
I
course, I loved being here, and I'm so glad to see you all doing this and take this initiative. And I believe and I trust that you guys are going to do amazingly through this process. And remember to like stay calm and don't stay stressed. Yes, things may not work out, but it's not the end of the world. Never ever.
yes, that is
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Okay.